everybody, Blue Guns here, and I'm going to talk today about the Kel Tec P11, my backup gun, my concealed carry weapon, my pocket carry weapon. Kel Tec P11 to me is a relic of the 90s really. When it first came out, it was the slimmest and smallest double stack automatic on the market. Now of course since then we've got what you could say are some better options, but this was the original and it was cheap and it's effective for me to this day. Now this is a later production model, so some of the kinks that they had when they first came out aren't with this one. I have made some modifications, but I did not have to do the fluff and buff. If you go to the Kel Tec owner's website, they talk about taking a Dremel tool and buffing and polishing the interior, certain parts to make it feed and run better. Never had to do that. It worked for me right out of the box. I have modified it, but with the exception of this little eraser right there, it's all Kel Tec parts. The eraser part comes from the fluff and buff. You just take a pencil eraser and you hot glue it to the rear so that this long 9-pound trigger pull, when you take it all the way back there, you just need a little bit more pressure to get it to fire. It's really great for practicing, gives you a little bit more control over the weapon. Speaking of the trigger, I got the trigger shoe on here. It's a metal piece that fits right over the plastic one. It takes the bite out of the snappy recoil from it being such a small firearm, and it just feels better. You get better grip on it. The other thing I did was I replaced the plastic guide rod with a metal guide rod. That's just personal preference. You don't have to do that. It doesn't make the gun any better. The weight that it adds is negligible. I did it just basically because they offered it. The sights are original Kel Tec sights, but I took some acrylic paint and I painted the sights. That was because the white that came with by default had a tendency to get real dirty, and these just seem to last longer without having to be cleaned. It's easier to see. So between painting the sights, the eraser, the recoil guide rod spring, and the trigger shoe, it's basically still the original gun. Oh, I guess you could say the Talon grips, which by the way, you don't have to actually get Talon grips. You can go to a skateboard shop and get a skateboard tape and cut in size to fit to yourself. It's a bit cheaper. I just found that out. So let me talk about what's good. It's a great bang for your buck. It's cheap. It comes with a 10-round magazine. I added the, this is for your pinky down here. But it comes with one 10-round magazine. Aftermarket, you can get other magazines. This is an extended magazine made by a third-party company. This one holds 15, and it tries to match the gun itself. I really like its small size. I use this for pocket carry. This is the holster that I use. I forget what brand it is, but it goes in here. I have had no problem drawing it from my pocket, and this will either fall to the floor or it'll stay in my pocket. I've never had this come out with the gun and oh crap, what do I do? So this falls away nicely. This material is kind of felt. I don't know how it catches on, but I've never had any problem. A quick note, when you are dry firing this, of course you don't want to dry fire it without a snap cap in. That's what that is. That's a snap cap. This trigger, it takes some getting used to. I like it because I believe it is a safety feature that they tout it as, but it is a 9-pound trigger. But there you go. Okay, so let me talk about the real negatives of the Kel Tec P11 here. And I know a lot of people have a lot to say about Kel Tec, but I have only had 2 negative experiences with this. Not really experiences, but to me, this is not a picky eater. It has jammed once, and only on one type of ammo. I was at a range where you had to have you had to use their ammo. You couldn't use outside ammo. It was a copper powder held together by an adhesive, and it had a long conical shaped bullet, not unlike the Tula ammo full metal jacket. Now this handles Tula full metal jacket really well. It also handles Winchester white box really well. And I've also done 3 different hollow points through it. I did Golden Sabers, Hornady Critical Duty. I can't remember the other one I used, but it ate those all well. But it had trouble on that that copper powder frangible round. The solution ended up being a lot more lubricant, and these guns do like to run wet. I want to say that right now. You should try and oil them at least once a month, if not once every other month. Keep it wet, especially if you do keep it in your pocket. You get some lint that builds up there. It's just you want to keep these well oiled. But so I can't sit there and say this gun has never jammed on me, because it has once. One time, one round, one type of ammo. The other thing is the takedown is not rather simple, at least if you want to take it down completely. Now the tools you're going to need to take it down completely are, well, first off, if you're just going to do routine cleaning, all you need is a shell casing. You take this right here and you pull out the takedown bar. But if you want to get into the slide, you're going to need a punch, a hammer for the punch, and an Allen wrench to get the firing pin out. So with a Glock, you can pretty much do a complete takedown of the Glock with nothing but a Glock tool. A little bit more intensive here. So that's the only real negative I can say about it. I didn't have to do the fluff and buff. I know I keep saying that, but it's reliable, and a lot of people say that these aren't. I've had this gun for, gosh, about 7 years, and never had any problems with it. I've gone out shooting in the desert with it, you know, in the sand and the dirt. Of course, I'm not some retard that likes to dip it in the, you know, get it all screwed up, but it, you know, it did perform out there in the desert. Accuracy, that trigger, that long trigger does take some getting used to, as I said time and time again, but this is going to be for close range engagements. I wouldn't trust it beyond 30 meters, honestly, and that's pushing it. Honestly, this is for point shooting. Your life is in immediate danger. You draw this from concealment. You're just trying to find that front sight post. You square your shoulders to the target, and you're not really aiming. It's going to be more instinctive, and hopefully it's going to be bad breath range, because it's not that accurate, but it's accurate enough. Anyway, that's my backup gun. I trust my life to it. I don't see any reason not to. A lot of hype around Kel Tec's, but it works. That's the bottom line. It works. So there you go. If you have hatred towards Kel Tec, please let me know in the comments below. If you own a Kel Tec and you got one that works and you like it, please also let me know, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of gray area. You either never had one and you buy on the hype that you don't like it, you've had one, got a lemon, and now you hate all Kel Tec's, or you're like me, where you got one, it works, and you don't understand all the hate towards Kel Tec. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.